The idea is that we have wonderful places all over the city of Milwaukee, and many of them are not known to the wider public. The wider public tends to think of more landmark types of places or maybe their own personal niche within their neighborhood, but what we wanted to do was to showcase the variety of really, really great places throughout the entire city and offer anyone in the city the opportunity to brag a little bit in a public forum.
That public forum is the World Wide Web. The specific address is www.picturemilwaukee.org. The electronic scrapbook is divided into 10 different categories, with one picture and a personal caption for each page.
People say a picture is worth 1,000 words, but we think that the words are really nice to have too. So by asking people to send in a photo with a story, it allows us to set it up like an actual scrapbook. So if you look at people's family scrapbooks, it'll have the picture and it'll have a little note about what this was, and that just helps for a stranger who's looking at it to get a little bit more contextual information. The scrapbook was really an effort to try to make it feel more homey. There's a lot of information and pictures out on the web right now that represent the city in a certain way, and we wanted to do it in a way that felt more familiar to people and felt more personal. So that's what the scrapbook is designed to do. It's very easy to browse through. You can go to the sections that you like. You can look for a little while and then come back later. It's just really easy to move through. Everybody is really into bragging, which is fun, and there's a lot of superlatives in the captions, like this is the best, or this is the most beautiful, or this is the greatest, so that's been really nice to see.
To take part, you can check the online scrapbook at picturemilwaukee.org or call 374-7408. But you don't need a camera to submit a picture or a computer to look at your favorite outdoor place in this electronic photo album.
On our website, you can send us an email. There's a link that you can click on, and you can send us an email and tell us where your favorite place is, and then we have volunteer photographers that will go out and take a really nice picture of that place, and we'll get into a dialogue with you about what you like about it so that we can help write your caption, or we can take a caption directly from you. Just because the project is currently on the web does not mean that it's exclusive or limited. Really, anyone in the city of Milwaukee does have access to the internet. All of our local library branches offer free internet access. To my knowledge, this is the only project that actively solicits the citizens of a city to show what they value about the city. And it's also extremely democratic. You know, really anyone can send in. I hope that many of the people who watch your program will send us a photo, and then it'll get added to the scrapbook. So it's very dynamic and democratic and inclusive. We're very grateful to have support from the Department of City Development. There's a larger initiative going on in the city right now called Making Milwaukee Places, and this is an effort for citizens from all walks of life to share their views about how spaces should be maintained and developed. And so the city Department of City Development has been very instrumental in that project, and we're kind of covered under that umbrella. We really sincerely do want to show every place in the city that people find to be special. So you'll see when you go on to the site that there's quite a few pictures of the downtown area and the art museum and the lake and some of the places that we think of as being very obviously beautiful and wonderful places. But there's also a growing number of photos on the site that show places that maybe aren't very well known, or maybe don't have kind of the classic characteristics of being beautiful. So we want to try to get as much of a diversity as we can. So I would really invite people as they're looking at the site to think about, like, well, what's a place that I know about that isn't here? And then just to help us reflect that on the site by telling us about it.
For many drivers, it's a catch-22 situation. A license is suspended. That can result in a person not being able to find work or get to a job. And if they lose a job, they can't afford to pay the fines that led to the suspension. But not paying those fines can lead to more serious consequences.
It's unfortunately, relatively easy for a driver who doesn't pay municipal court fines to end up in the criminal court system. So here in municipal court, it's not a criminal violation, but a failure to pay municipal court fines will lead to someone driving while suspended, and repeated driving while suspended leads to driving while revoked, which leads to criminal court. So again, on an individual basis, it's very important for a lot of the people that are coming through this program to get their licenses to avoid ending up in the criminal system and end up going to jail.
To eliminate that possibility, you can stop at municipal court and pick up an application for what's called the Driver's License Workforce Development Program. About 400 people came here the first day. All you need to bring is valid identification. The court has extended its hours from 4:30 p.m. to 7 p.m. Monday through Thursday for those unable to stop during the day. Municipal court judges handle just about all traffic-related offenses in the city.
So it ranges from driving a vehicle that's not registered properly, to speeding, to rolling through a stop sign, running a red light, just a whole range of violations that are fairly common for drivers who drive anywhere in the city. So when a driver gets a fine to pay for those violations and doesn't pay it, we suspend that person's driving privileges for a period of 2 years. So it's the failure to pay those traffic fines, those basic traffic fines, that causes that suspended status. And it's those drivers who are eligible to participate in the program as long as their suspension for not paying the fine occurred by January 21.
Here's how the program works. If drivers apply by April 8th and pay a $50 fee, municipal judges can lift the license suspension for 120 days. During that time, drivers must pay off half of their Milwaukee fines and remove any other barriers to reinstating their licenses. If that's done, judges will hold special night court sessions this summer to waive the remaining half of the fines and permanently reinstate licenses. MPS Administrator Tyrone Dumas worked with judges and community groups for nearly 2 years to get the program started.
The common thread amongst every one of the organizations, as they talked about trying to get people ready for the workforce, was driver's license. That many of them were spending thousands of dollars to properly prepare people for driver's license, to get their driver's license so that they can even access the job. So we're saying, well, if you can't have a driver's license, access to trades, to technical areas, many of the jobs are out in Waukesha and other places, this is just, we got to do something about this. I hope 30% come. That's about 18,000 people. If 18,000 people can take advantage of 120 days, God bless them. Now, if 60,000 people want to take advantage of that, God bless them even more. But I'm just excited that we're giving them the opportunity to take advantage of this. We're not going to find them. They know they're going to be all in the media, it's going to be in the newspaper. If you don't find out about this and take advantage of this, shame on you.
The municipal court expects that about 12,000 or 20% of those eligible for the program will apply. The program does not cover fines in other cities or Milwaukee County. Remember, you don't have to come downtown for the application. You can also go to a number of community organizations.
But the drivers can go to one of these community-based organizations and fill out this very same form, and then that organization will transfer it to our court so that we can process the person. Just as an example, it's very interesting to me, but South Division High School is one of those organizations or agencies. They've chosen, because they know there's a problem on the part of the students at South Division, so the administration there has made South Division High School one of the sites. Just getting the municipal court suspensions released is important. It's a very significant impediment to a lot of people getting their licenses. But by and large, they have other impediments on their driving record as well. We've seen over the years through our work here in court the need to have other skilled coaches out there in the community who can sit down with someone and say, here's what your driving record tells me. Here are the steps you need to take to get your license, and come on, let's go do it.
So the judge and others set up a training program. As a result, many community groups are setting up drivers' education classes and providing coaching and counseling on dealing with the courts and getting and keeping a license. The training program was housed at the Milwaukee Urban League.
We are going to have a number of volunteers that are going to act as coaches and counselors for these people who've lost their licenses or had their licenses suspended. What we found is that many people don't understand the system. You know, it is rather complex, so you need someone to help people understand the system, understand how to navigate the system. The other thing that we want to do is deal with behavior. Many of these people, once they have their driver's license suspended, they drive after suspension. That gets you deeper and deeper into trouble. So we want to talk to people about making better decisions, using better judgment.
Municipal court records indicate that the more than 61,000 people who have had their driver's licenses suspended for non-payment of fines and assessments owe the city nearly $14.5 million in fines.
Kids, they're the reason you get up in the morning and go to work. And that's a beautiful thing, but sometimes not an easy thing, especially if you're not making a lot of money. That's where the Earned Income Tax Credit can help. If you have one or more children living with you, you may qualify for the EITC, and come tax time, pay less tax, no taxes, or even get a refund. Think of it as a reward for doing one of life's most important and most loving jobs. The EITC, you've earned it, so why not claim it? Visit our website or ask your tax preparer if you qualify. A message from the Internal Revenue Service, working to put service first.
The Social Development Commission is among the local agencies working with the IRS to provide free tax assistance. That includes help with the paperwork, including the Earned Income Credit Form and the 52-page booklet that explains the rules and regulations. SDC is one of 22 VITA, or Volunteer Income Tax Assistance sites in Milwaukee. SDC is a lead agency for the Milwaukee Asset Building Coalition, which coordinates the free tax preparation services for low-income workers.
Well, EITC is a refundable credit that people get for the work that they do. And oftentimes they find, to their surprise, that they have money coming in rather than owing Uncle Sam taxes. And it really has been for low-income families that earn less than $34,000.
The refunds bring a substantial amount of money into the local economy. Last year, the VITA sites handled more than 8,000 federal tax refunds, bringing $5.3 million back to the community. If you earned less than $34,692 or less than $15 an hour in 2003, you may be eligible for the Earned Income Tax Credit. The credits reward people who find and keep a job by adding to the wages they earn.
People who have a job, but oftentimes we know people are making minimum wage or close to minimum wage, and so this Earned Income Tax Credit can help a family of 3 perhaps bring in over $3,500. The maximum is $4,000. We know that on an average, though, people bring in $1,400. Well, it's important for a lot of reasons. One, because they actually have earned the money. Wisconsin is one of a few states that has the Earned Income Credit at the state level, and then the federal government has it. So it tells people their work is valued. It gives them some extra money in their pocket to hopefully pay some bills, to splurge just a little, save perhaps for education or a home. It just gives them an extra boost.
Volunteer workers like these at SDC are trained by the IRS to provide the tax help. Several Milwaukee public libraries are among the volunteer income tax assistance sites.
We are only one of 22 agencies that actually have sites. And then there's another 10 to 15 agencies, including banks and government and others that work with us. So we need sometimes close to 400 volunteers to really help us get the taxes done. And most people really see it not just as doing someone's taxes for 1 year, but helping people build assets.
Of course, the IRS requires a lot of documentation, so there are a number of things you'll need to bring along with you for the tax preparation. Social Security cards for all involved, payments during 2003 for child care and other dependent expenses, all W-2 and 1099 forms, amount of property taxes or rent paid, prior year's income tax returns, and picture identification. Some of the VITA tax preparation locations are called super sites.
And what it means, you come in, you get your taxes done, you can talk to the city health department about some of the things that they can provide for you. You can talk to other agencies about other services. And so it becomes in some ways like a come in here on Saturday and do your one-stop shopping.
The IRS estimates more than 60,000 people in Wisconsin who are eligible for the Earned Income Tax Credit don't apply for it. It could be because of the paperwork involved, but many simply are unaware of it. For a listing of tax assistance locations, you can call IMPACT, the social service hotline, at 211.
The thing that sometimes people don't realize is they are working probably beside someone who could benefit from this Earned Income Tax Credit. We encourage our staff to apply, to go through the tax sites. We encourage other community agencies to tell their staff, and we hope corporations and government are saying to their staff, go through these sites and see if you can collect some money.